Top 108 Nelson Mandela quotes. It always seems impossible until it's done. A winner is a dreamer who never gives up. Do not judge me by my successes, judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. It is not where you start, but how high you aim that matters for success. May your choices reflect your hopes, not your fears. I am the captain of my soul. The brave man is not the one who has no fears, he is the one who triumphs over his fears. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. If you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his language, that goes to his heart. Lead from the back, and let others believe they are in front. There is no passion to be found playing small, in settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living. Nothing is black or white. After climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills to climb. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. Your playing small does not serve the world. Who are you not to be great? Peace is the greatest weapon for development that any person can have. Remember to celebrate milestones as you prepare for the road ahead. Once a person is determined to help themselves, there is nothing that can stop them. One cannot be prepared for something while secretly believing it will not happen. We must use time creatively and forever realize that the time is always right to do right. The youth of today are the leaders of tomorrow. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. Resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies. As I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison. Fools multiply when wise men are silent. A good head and a good heart are always a formidable combination. There is nothing like returning to a place that remains unchanged to find the ways in which you yourself have altered. Forget the past. No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin, or his background, or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love, for love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. It is better to lead from behind and to put others in front, especially when you celebrate victory when nice things occur. You take the front line when there is danger. Then people will appreciate your leadership. You will achieve more in this world through acts of mercy than you will through acts of retribution. We can change the world and make it a better place. It is in your hands to make a difference. Times change, we need to change as well. A nation should not be judged by how it treats its highest citizens, but its lowest ones. Quitting is leading too. I am not a saint, unless you think of a saint as a sinner who keeps on trying. In my country we go to prison first and then become president. Sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does. It speaks to youth in a language they understand. Sport can create hope where once there was only despair. Education is the great engine to personal development. For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. To deny people their human rights is to challenge their very humanity. Appearances matter, and remember to smile. Our children are our greatest treasure. They are our future. Those who abuse them tear at the fabric of our society and weaken our nation. Live life as though nobody is watching, and express yourself as though everyone is listening. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. Where you stand depends on where you sit. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's inspiring others to move beyond it. In Africa, there is a concept known as Ubuntu, the profound sense that we are human only through the humanity of others. That if we are to accomplish anything in this world, it will in equal measure be due to the work and achievement of others. As long as poverty, injustice, and gross inequality persist in our world, none of us can truly rest. When a man is denied the right to live the life he believes in, he has no choice but to become an outlaw. One of the things I learned when I was negotiating was that until I changed myself, I could not change others. When we read, we are able to travel to many places, meet many people, and understand the world. Our children are the rock on which our future will be built, our greatest asset as a nation. If you want to change the world, help the women. There can be no greater gift than that of giving one's time and energy to help others without expecting anything in return. Without language, one cannot talk to people and understand them, one cannot share their hopes and aspirations, grasp their history, appreciate their poetry, or savor their songs. There is no future without forgiveness. Our children are the rock on which our future will be built, our greatest asset as a nation. They will be the leaders of our country, the creators of our national wealth, those who care for and protect our people. A good head and good heart are always a formidable combination. But when you add to that a literate tongue or pen, then you have something very special. There is no easy walk to freedom anywhere, and many of us will have to pass through the valley of the shadow of death again and again before we reach the mountaintop of our desires. Safety and security don't just happen, they are the result of collective consensus and public investment. We owe our children, the most vulnerable citizens in our society, a life free of violence and fear. There can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which it treats its children. History will judge us by the difference we make in the everyday lives of children. Running taught me valuable lessons. In cross-country competition, training counted more than intrinsic ability, and I could compensate for a lack of natural aptitude with diligence and discipline. I applied this in everything I did. Know your enemy and learn about his favorite sport. There is a constant struggle between good and evil in the world. It is up to good people to choose the right side. With freedom comes responsibilities, and I dare not linger, for my long walk has not ended yet. The wounds that cannot be seen are more painful than those that can be treated by a doctor. A society that does not value its older people denies its roots and endangers its future. Let us strive to enhance their capacity to support themselves for as long as possible and, when they cannot do so anymore, to care for them. Overcoming poverty is not a gesture of charity. It is an act of justice. Sometimes it falls upon a generation to be great. You be that great generation. Let your greatness blossom. Of course, the task will not be easy. But not to do this would be a crime against humanity, against which I ask all humanity now to rise up. Love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. Money won't create success, the freedom to make it will. Let there be justice for all. Let there be peace for all. Let there be work, bread, water, and salt for all. Let each know that for each the body, the mind and the soul have been freed to fulfill themselves. We know too well that our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of the Palestinians. I learned to have the patience to listen when people put forward their views, even if I think those views are wrong. You can't reach a just decision in a dispute unless you listen to both sides. Although I am a gregarious person, I love solitude even more. Racism is a blight on the human conscience. We slaughter one another in our words and attitudes. We slaughter one another in the stereotypes and mistrust that linger in our heads and the words of hate we spew from our lips. By ancestry, I was born to rule. No power on this earth can destroy the thirst for human dignity. Freedom is indivisible. The chains on any one of my people were the chains on all of them. The chains on all of my people were the chains on me. We must work together to ensure the equitable distribution of wealth, opportunity, and power in our society. It is in your hands to create a better world for all who live in it. It is not the kings and generals that make history, but the masses of the people. It is not our diversity which divides us. It is not our ethnicity, or religion, or culture that divides us. Since we have achieved our freedom, there can only be one division amongst us, between those who cherish democracy and those who do not. Courageous people do not fear forgiving for the sake of peace. There is no such thing as part freedom. When the water starts boiling, it is foolish to turn off the heat. When we can sit in the face of insanity or dislikes and be free from the need to make it different, then we are free. An organization can only carry out its mandate if there is discipline, and where there is no discipline, there can be no real progress. I want to sleep for eternity with a broad smile on my face. I want those who remain behind to say this man has done his duty. We should never forget those on whose shoulders we stand and those who paid the supreme price for freedom. Children are the most important asset in a country. For them to become that asset, they must receive education and love from their parents. Other people have qualities that may be better than your own. Let them express them. The United States of America is a threat to world peace. Non-violence is a good policy when the conditions permit. Exercise is the key not only to physical health but to peace of mind.